start the video. Hope you can hear the audio clearly as well. Let's watch this video together.
This is Don Howe, and the topic for this golden nugget is managing your time. And I'd like to illustrate this by sharing a well-known story. Once upon a time, a professor was teaching a class about time management, and the professor on the table and filled it up with pretty good-sized rocks. He then said to the students, "Is the jar full?" They replied, "Yes, it's full." And then he pulled out a bag of pebbles and he poured them into the jar. As he did, he shook the jar so that the pebbles sifted down through the holes between the rocks. Eventually, the pebbles reached the top of the jar, and once again, he looked at the class and said, "Is the jar full?" The students cautiously answered, "Yes." And then he pulled out a bag of sand and he did the same thing, pouring and shaking until the sand reached the top of the jar. This time, when he looked at the students and said, "Is the jar full?" they said, "No." He smiled. He pulled out a pitcher of water. He poured it into the jar until the water reached the top of the jar. And then he looked at the students and he said, "What was the point of this illustration?" And one young man jumped up and said, "I know. No matter how full your schedule is, if you try hard enough, you can always fit some more things into it." The professor shook his head and replied, "That's not the point I was trying to illustrate. The point I was trying to illustrate is that if you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never get them all in. If you fill your jar first with pebbles or sand or water, then there won't be any room for the rocks. If you allow the small things to take up all of your time, then you won't be able to accomplish the bigger things. Figure out what your highest priorities are and do your best to work first on those things that move you towards your goals. Once your goal-related activities are scheduled, then you can fill the rest of your schedule with all those other activities that are less important but still need to be done." Of course, you know this already, but the illustration of the rocks in the jar is a good reminder to schedule your highest priorities first. I imagine that you do this because that's what winners do, and you are a winner, and given enough time, you will win. Yes, you are a winner.
Right. So I believe we also a video that was talking about time management, and I hope you guys learned something from that. So let's go back to me now talking enough about the videos and all that. So guys, anyway, sanbonani, dumelang, abshing, for betterings, if there's such a thing. I don't know. Using different Africans calling. Anyway, so guys, today's topic is teaching each other about time management. It's one thing that I believe Guti, most of us struggle with it, the time management. There's so many people who really struggle with time management. And today I'm going to discuss with you reasons why we fail sometimes to manage our time. And I'm also going to discuss, please share the video or the link Okay, where we can find it. Okay, Londega is asking for a video where we can find it. So if I found it on YouTube, I'll share the link. I don't know. I don't have it. Sorry, man. I don't have the link right now. But I'll share with after this podcast. I'll just share the link with you guys. Okay, I can see people are picking up now. I think it was my network as well. It was slow. So I can see that even the comments are coming up. So that means people are picking up. So Londega, I'll share the video. I'll put a link on this podcast when I'm done with it. I'll share the link so that you guys can be able to view. You can go on YouTube, check it out. So anyway, moving forward with today's talk, right? So as I've mentioned today, guys, I'm gonna give you tips. It's about tips on how to manage your time effectively. Number two, the last point I want to talk about when I'm done with my talk, I want to share with you my experience on how I actually execute the things that I'll be teaching you today. And earlier, I asked a few people who would see if they're interested, if they do want to come on screen and also share with us. If they're interested, just let me know. So that's possible. I'll send you a link, right? As soon as I send you the link, you don't need to install anything. You click on the link will take you straight to my podcast. Yeah. Then you'll also show on the screen, but you don't have to show your face. You can just close the video. This thing looks same as a Zoom, so you can shut down the video, and then you can talk, and then you don't need to show your face if you don't want to show your face. If you want to, you're more than welcome to do that. But if anyone is interested, you can write on the comments here. We'll see you want to come through, and you also want to share something with us that will teach us with about time management. Right, guys? I've talked too much. Let's get straight to today's topic, right? So, what ama experts say, no me research says, Uti, the most important thing that you need to do when it comes to time management or you in balancing your life is knowing your personal values, right? There's nothing as important as knowing your personal values. I did a talk a few weeks ago or a month ago where I was talking about personalities. And one of the things I've mentioned, Guti, personality yako can change. Those people always it's impossible. I was telling you, the only way to change your personality is change your values. Your values will control your personality, or your values will control the things, the choices you will make based on the value, based on your values. And from your values, then you can be able to change your personality. But I'm not on the talk of personality. If you want to see that podcast, you can check out on my wall. I think on YouTube as well. It's there, if I'm not mistaken. But let's talk for another day. So it's the same concept that you need to apply when it comes to time management. Time management, guys, it lies mostly on the fact that you become disciplined with time. If you're not disciplined with time, then it's cut so shy. You know, vele umuntu ungadisciplineki uyashaywa, straightforward. So for you so for ukuthi ungabi nenkinga yokushaywa isikhathi, imagine ushaywa isikhathi, yabo, ngoba udisciplineki. So to avoid that, try these steps. First step, know your values. Second step, work on your priorities. Now, how do you work on your priorities? It's based on your values. You prioritize isn't based on what you value, right? Now, what I want you to do at home, if you do have a paper next to you and a pen, if you don't, you can try this exercise after this talk, right? So what I want you to do is take a pen and a paper, and then upale ama columns out 3, right? 3 columns. The first column, write it as high importance, and then label the second column as mid important, and then the last column label it as least important, right? So what you do now, you go write down everything that comes to your mind that you know, Guti, this thing is important to me. You know, soon as it comes to your mind, I need you to write that thing down, right? Okay, I can see which there's a bit of an issue with yeah, much better. Yeah. Okay, let's just do this. There's a small thing that's giving me issues here. Done. Okay, sorry guys about that. Because the thing was just telling me, which I'll see the comments here and stuff. I don't know why it kept telling me this. But anyway, sorted. There's a small problem there. Now, let's continue. So, what I was saying was, okay, you've got the table of yours, right? So you put in the most important things. How do you know these things are important? These are things that need your immediate attention. For instance, things like I don't know, ukudla if kuthi into oyivaluishayo i-high priority empilweni yakho, things like abanye, so some of us going to church, you're going to put that thing there, it's high priority, into ibalulekile kuwe. Things like going to work or going to school, high priority, it's things that you need to get to. You know, they need your immediate attention. Into some other time. You need to look at them right now, right? So those things, you put them on the high important column. Then on the mid important, it's just things that are not as important as the first things that I mentioned, which are things that don't need your immediate attention, but they're also important. For instance, like going to do your shopping, maybe. So something that you need to do every day, or it's something that you need your what you call your immediate attention. You can go do your shopping some other time. You don't need to go now and do your shopping, for instance. Then your least important things are things like maybe you need to go, maybe your renew license, something. It's something maybe every day. Maybe you need to go visit your friend. You need to go visit to guys. I'm just making an example. Like the things that are least important to you, or the things that add less value to your life. As I told you, how you align these things, or how you actually go about putting them in the right categories. You think about values, how much value they add to your life. It's not about this is what I like. It's how much value it adds to your life, right? So that's an important point to make. It's how much value it adds to your life, or how important it is to your life, how urgent it is for you or for your attention, or how much does that thing sort of demands attention from you. Then you base it on that. Then you put it on these three columns accordingly, as I just mentioned. Right now, this is the first way you can do this. Right. There's another thing to our life coaching. We call it a wheel of life. Right. A wheel of life, guys. It's hard for me to explain it, but if I can, for someone who can take it, maybe a program, your life coaching, I can teach them on how a wheel of life works. Wheel of life, you can use it in almost anything in your life. Well, it's the first thing usually life coaching we use when we talk to our clients. We sit down, talk to our clients. First thing we do what you call a wheel of life. Wheel of life basically shows you which areas of your life maybe are lacking, or which areas of your life you would like to improve. It helps you to vision that. It's sort of like a mind map, right? So as I'm saying, it's a wheel. That's why I'm saying, for me to explain it, I'll have to make it visual for you to you can even go Google it. There's even apps for a wheel of life. You can even check an app that you can download, and then it will show you where you are lacking. And you can use the wheel of life also to do the same exercise that I've just taught you right now. Okay, now moving on. Some of these things, guys, that I've mentioned, some of them, as I mentioned, they need you to value them, or when you categorize them, you need to look at their value, the value they add to your life, right? So sometimes you need to do sacrifices in order for you to get what you need or what you want. So sometimes you need to do something that you do not like in order for you to get something that you like. Meaning sometimes you need to do a sacrifice, or meaning there's some of the things you need to push away. Our motivational speakers usually say, for you to succeed or to go forward with plans or goals, sometimes there's people in your life that you need to get rid of. That means you're doing sacrifices, So sacrifices will also be part of this exercise, right? Okay. Now, from that table I gave you, there's something you must now create from it. It's not just a matter of creating the table I was telling you about in Makalama 3. Take that, and from that, you create something called a routine. Routine is something that is repetitive, that you do every day. I'll share with you a routine that I've been practicing for a couple of years, and that helped me balance my life nicely. I can balance my work, my social life, and even my spiritual life for going to church. I'll share with you right at the end how I was doing it and how it worked for me, right? Yeah. So anyway, moving on to where was I? Okay, create a routine, guys. A routine it's a repetitive thing. It's something that you do every day. But about dance, about a routine, you get moves. So that's a routine. It's something you get into. So for some people, a routine is waking up ekuseni, andlula umbhede, ahamba ejimini, after gym, then they go to work or they go to school. It's a routine, and so on until the ilanga labo ends, right? So what I want you to do now is take those into lezo. I know for some people it sounds like I'm taking them back to school, but it's my advice, but you're not forced to do this. But you can take whatever you've written there in the table and you put it on on a timetable. Timetable will help you visualize what you have planned. It helps you see what I've planned to do A, B, C, D, and F, guys. By the way, timetable, you won't get it right on the first time or on the first attempt. It might happen that you try it once and it doesn't work. You try it more than once, then it doesn't work. Then maybe always start, maybe on the third week, on the fourth week, then you start getting into it and then start following your timetable and you're able to execute things. And by the way, guys, timetable does not mean these things are set in stone. You can never change them. You can move things around in order for things to work for you. Remember, this is your life. You are in control of your own life. It's you who decides, I now want to change my life. I want to better manage my time, right? You decide that. So you are in control. You are the one who should be responsible as well to ensure you do. You follow what you follow the plan that you put in place for yourself, because you've put it in place for yourself, not anyone else but you yourself, right? So as I was saying, so a timetable will help you, but I know not everyone would like to do that. But now I'm going to advise them with the timetable story. If you've been struggling with time management, you've never had a timetable before, and it's something you've never tried before. If you do the same thing over and over again and you get the same result, it means you're doing something wrong. So why don't you try something different and see if you won't get different results are different for a change? So my advice to you would be, why don't you try this timetable thing? Even if it's something you don't like, just try it out. Maybe 2 weeks, max. Let me try it out. Let me see if there wouldn't be any change in my time management with the timetable. But you've written the timetable according to that whole column story that I was telling you. Do it this way by prioritizing your activities based on the value of each and every activity, each and every day, right? So if you follow that and see what's right? So the point, guys, is to change. This is my slogan, man. Empire. I always say we are here to change the world, and I've done a video before. By changing the world, I mean just changing your surrounding, your world. Not just changing your world. So you want to change or better yourself. That's the whole important. The whole point of this exercise. So, but if you don't want to create a timetable, just create a routine. Maybe even in your head. Try it out. It's okay. So it's good, no good. And if you see you are failing to stick to the routine that you've created for yourself, then there's something that's wrong. Set up something that will remind you, right? Now, this is a second trick that you can use. That means I use that works for me because I'm a visual person, but I don't like putting izinto on my wall all over the house, right? So what I do, because I'm a technology person, I believe Guti everywhere. I believe it's a reality, guys. Masem we go with our phones. When we wake up in the morning, probably the first thing we touch is our phones. When we maybe lifting umile or ulayini somewhere, you busy touching your phone. That means your phone is something that is always in front of you, something that you use almost each and every minute of your life. I was about to say they won't leave the house without having their phone in their hands. It means it's always there. So why don't we become smart about our phones so that our phones, they don't just make our life easy in terms of them connecting us to other people on the other side of the world, but why don't we use our phone as well to help us do our time management? Why don't we take that same timetable I was talking about, put it on your phone? The simplest thing that I do mean in order for me to keep track on what I do daily or things that I need to get done on a day, I put reminders. That's what works for me. Now you can try it out. If you don't want to try the timetable thing, then take the timetable thing, convert it, put it on your phone because you use your phone every 2 minutes. Our reminders, they pop up on your phone. They show up on your phone as you're busy chatting with your friends, as you're busy doing this and that and that. Abanye bahambe bayojola nama phone at the same time. Even umuntu amjolweni ifone ila. Benge flight mode. Got the phone libe ayithinto ayivula. Anyway, it's a story for another day. So my point was to say, put reminders. The reminders will remind you so that you don't forget. So you are able to manage your time effectively because you've got something that reminds you, hey, Papa, you made a commitment. Today you're going to do A, B, C, and D. Then the phone reminds you. Then you go do that. That's another tip of doing your time management properly or effectively. Right. Now, let's talk about things that I call wasters or things that might take you off your plan. Right. Number one, this is one thing that some researchers say ihamba phambili kakhulu. The lack of boundaries. People lack boundaries. Most people lack boundaries. By boundaries, guys, what we mean, we're not talking about Zimbabwean boundaries or what Zimbabwean borders, that we have between South Africa and Zimbabwe. No, I'm talking about boundaries. Basically, no. You shouldn't be always saying yes to everything. You should. There's people who do this thing out of the goodness of their hearts. They say, not just they say, but they'll put other people first before themselves, and they end up not executing what they need to be doing in order for them to keep track with their plan and with their goals and achieve what they've planned to achieve, because they tend to take the time they had for themselves and then they give it to other people. And then you always say yes. You need to have no, or to know, I can't do this because I'm busy with this, or I've got these plans, or why don't we try this some other time? People like guys, I'm not saying go be rude to your friends and your family members and all that. An example, Mina, when I was doing matric, I remember this one time, friends of mine came to my house, babezong visit, right? And I used to study around 4 or 5, yeah, I think after my track on pause, because I used to love my track on pause. So after my track on pause, I'll jump in and I'll start start studying. And we already watched my track on pause. We already spoke and chilled and then talked this and that. Then it was time for me to study. And my friends were like, no, my guy, some now, I'm like, yeah, guys, I know some nami, but right now it's my time for studying. And they literally said, how come on Facebook you can study late? No, man, this is my time. I start studying at this time. So it's my time. It's in my schedule. My schedule says it's my study time right now. And they couldn't believe me telling them, I told them literally on their Facebook, guys, no, yeah, it's time. abakholwanga. I was like, no, guys, I insist. It's my time to study. They went and I spoke to my mom. Mama says, "Usizo yasixosha." Yabo, yabo. Umama uzombuza endlini uzombuza uthi, "Hey, boxoshelana abangani bakhe." I'm like, "Hey mama, ngiyafunda, isikhathi sami manje." Time kinako. Yeah, and they eventually left. That's creating boundaries, because if I sat with them, I know we're going to talk crap for hours and hours. And the next thing, yabonga Mr. Mthembu, and the next thing, bezogcina bengidlile ilokhuzana isikhathi sami, and then I end up not doing what I'm supposed to do on the day. So let me remove the banner now. Okay, it's fine because we're done with this banner thing. Now, one other thing that I wanted to mention, that is a time waster, guys. Depression is one thing that wastes a lot of time, because some people, or some of us, they spend so much time stressing about things instead of taking the time and doing things. Abanye bashaya anxiety, abanye they've got sleeping issues, you know. So sometimes so they end up making up the time of sleeping during the day, and they end up pushing away a task they're supposed to perform during the day because of sleeping issues. If you've got these things, depression, anxiety, and sleeping issues, guys, I would really suggest you see a psychologist, or you see a counselor or a social worker. There's even, I think there's free ones as well. Government, there's so many organizations out there, because one say, guys, these people are expensive to go see a psychologist. There's government what you call those things? Government organizations, NPOs, you know, where you can go and do this thing for free. You don't need to pay anything, zero rents, right? So yeah, as I did mention, things like depression, addictions, guys. There's different addictions we have. Some of us are addicted to social networks. It can be a big addiction, and some people was supposed to maybe to study, you know, during the day, but they saw a couple of my status, my videos popping up, and they just keep watching videos, and they end up not doing their work. Even people who are working, sometimes I'm also far of this thing, because there was a time where my boss sat me down and spoke to me about the fact that she was seeing that what you call performance was dropping, and simply because I was spending so much time on WhatsApp about you know, and not focusing on the work, you know, and that took so much time for me to continue to focus on my work, and that also affected the performance on my work. I was not giving quality work. But as soon as I started knowing what's the right time to open social media, what's the right time to focus on my work, then because the performance picked up again, and my boss was happy about it, right? So addictions, guys, be careful of addictions such as social media and stuff. And another one is friends. As I mentioned before, sometimes friends will take so much of your time. Sometimes it's things like food. Some people are addicted to food, guys. Food as well can be an addiction, and food as well, or alcohol. There's another example I've made somewhere when I was making a similar presentation. That sometimes there's guys that I know, especially with us guys, males, we tend to do this thing of, you've got maybe your partner visiting you for a weekend or something like that, and your friends come through to tell you, guys, just because you want to go and have chillers with your friend and have you end up spending so much time drinking, instead of taking that same time you could have used effectively. Maybe do something effective. Maybe spend time with your loved one, your wife, your spouse, same thing, spouse and wife, or your I don't know, whatever you call them, your lover, or even maybe reading a book, or even maybe searching something on the internet, reading an article that will teach you something new and will better your life, but you spend time drinking alcohol. I'm not saying, guys, about I know I've made an example about people drinking alcohol before, but I'm just telling you, it's one of the things that are time wasters. Because I don't think there's anyone who goes to, especially when you've got friends and you're having fun, you're gonna go to a club or go out for drinks, and then you're gonna go there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, and then you come back and clean. No, it's not gonna happen, because if you do that to 2 hours, you party poop. Like, come on, man. But we're still having a much drinks. You end up staying more. You end up not doing things you were supposed to do, because you've included something in your life that takes so much of your time, and then it takes your focus away from grooming yourself as a person, and hence it affects your time management skills. Another thing is overspending, and another thing is oversleeping, and then the last thing that they've mentioned is social media, of which I already mentioned it. So all those things, guys, just be careful of them. Another thing with time, you must understand this thing. Life, guys, is a chain. One thing affects another thing. It's, I guess, when life is like my God, you call this thing, this dominions or dominoes, yeah. So you hit one thing. When it comes to time, you let's say, as I was mentioning with you, if you create a routine, as you wake up in the morning, you go to the gym, you go to class. After class, you go to thinking. You go to maybe a gym again, I don't know. Maybe you go to study. After studying, maybe you go and maybe to, I don't know, church, or you go to, I don't know, see your friends or your lover, or I don't know, your chillers or whatever. But this is like this thing is a chain. If you decide to wake up and you don't go to gym, or you wake up, or you sleep, you oversleep, and then you take the time that you're supposed to use for going to gym. The next thing, you skip gym. Once you skip gym, you won't have to, you get into class, and you get into class, you are lazy. I was class, because now you skip gym today, and your body is so used to gym. So already you're affecting your day. From class, already you are tired and sleepy. You go sleep. You don't go to study. Already you've messed up your day, and you already end up being late to activities because you've messed up one activity. I'm not saying you always must be perfect, but look at one activity as a part of a chain that connects to the next part of the next activity that makes up your day. So you fix one activity. When I have issues of the post, I mean, of being late at church. The simple thing this is a possibility that causes you not to be able to go to church on time, or to go to work on time, or go to an event on time. Usually, it's because this whole chain. You mess up one thing, you spend so much time maybe sleeping, and you by sleeping, you wake up late, you have to take a shower, and then prepare it, and then maybe iron and all that, then go to church, and then end up with late, or end up with late, or we event, because you took the time that you could have used to do the next activity. You used it on one thing, simple thing. You overused it on oversleeping or time wasters that I've mentioned. So avoid the time wasters. Once you avoid these time wasters, I can promise you, your life will change. You can see your time management skills will grow. You will see your life changing. You'll start seeing you becoming punctual now, because you took away the things you don't need. And you guys, with time, it's also a psychological thing. Someone was saying on the comments, I won't mention the name, but he was saying, yeah, now he gets bored with I figure early in or a church, because he gets bored because he knows when he gets there, he's gonna be the first person there, you know. So already in his mind, the value of him getting there on time, I circle, because there's nothing that he's getting from it. Remember when I started talking, I said time management lies mostly with personal values. Guys, let's be honest. How many times have you've been late to church, late to an event, but always on time at work? Why are you always on time at work? It's because there's something you value at church. You value salary, you value having job security. There's a value to it. Once you value that thing, then you're definitely going to make time for it, or you're going to make sure that you do not mess up time to get to it, or to ensure that you execute it or at the right time. So in like we value as I mentioned right at the beginning, time management lies with your personal values. So I said at the beginning, write down the things that you value the most. if you value those things the most, you're gonna put more time to those things. You're gonna make sure those things that with timetable or your routine, they come first. Then the things that you don't need, they come last. You don't put them in there, right? So this is how you break it down. This is how you actually do your what you call your diagnosis of your ill time management. So if you get this thing right, I promise you, your life will change. Your life will definitely change. You'll see change. I won't say 2 days after, no matter days, but it's a process. But if you're still struggling, guys, I keep saying this thing every time I do all my videos. If you're still struggling with your management of time, last week we spoke of finances with Mamu Mafunda. If you're struggling, there's people like Mama Mafunda who's a financial coach. Speak to her. Ask her, I'm struggling here with imali zami. Speak to her. She will show you where you are going wrong. If you need someone who's going to help you with time management, you are failing on time management, there's people like myself, or life coach. Come to us. If you don't like Gule, it's fine. You don't have to come to me. Go to another life coach if you see you are failing to do it by yourself. But if you're able to do it by yourself, that's good. But if you say, I've been trying it so many times by myself, it means you need a friend to help you through your journey, guys. I'm doing it, guys. I won't say my price here, but if you consult me, you'll see what the price army is flipping cheap. Our life coach, but I charge 700 the hour. I charge way less than that. Not in an hour. The session can be as long as you want. Anyway, so yeah, if you need a life coach, guys, I'm here anytime, not any place, anytime. Yeah, just holler at me, inbox me, WhatsApp, because number on WhatsApp is always out there. Whatever you want to do, contact me, call me, we'll have a chat. Right. Now, I wanted to show, or not show you, I wanted to share with you what I used to do when I was a student. And also when I was working. Maybe let me just use the example when I was working. Maybe it's closer, it's more relevant, right? What I used to do is what I used to do to make sure that my day, I'm able to cover everything I need to do on the time that I need to do it in. I created a routine. Told you. For me, things that are important in my life. One, it's God. That's the first thing that's the most important in my life. So already that means church must be in there. That's the first thing that I need to put in my schedule. Number two, in my schedule that needs to go in there is my finances, right? Sort out my finances because I need to live. I need to have food. I need to pay for bills. So work goes in there. Another thing that's important in my life is my health. So I need to go to gym. I need to eat right. I need to do APC at DNF. That needs to all these things that are going to contribute towards me having a good health, right? And not that she's my last option, but she's also important to me. My lover, Sandasami, my baby, my putinunu, my. Anyway, so I need to put her as well in my schedule to see her, to have time for her, right? So this is what I used to do. This is what I used to do, and it worked for me. You can take it, you can leave it, your choice. I used to wake up at 5 every morning before this whole corona thing. Go to work because I start to work at 7. Go to work and then till 3:30. 3:30, I leave work. Standard. 3:30, I leave work. 30 minutes. It's designed. Ogoti, I'm going to gym. By the way, when I leave the house, I leave with a bag. Some of you will relate. Most people used to see me with a bag, a big bag. This guy is short with a big bag, and they're asking themselves, what the hell do you have in that bag? Every day, every day. Why the hell? In that bag, guys, I always had my lunch in there. I had my breakfast as well sometimes. You know, when I was not eating my cereal, I had my breakfast. And I had my coat and my tie for church. After work, after doing all the activities, I need to go to church. I remember I said my number one thing, one most important thing for me to do in a day is for me to attend church. For me, church is very important, right? So I had a coat and a tie for me to look presentable in church. So I had to put that in my bag as well. On top of that, I will have my gym clothes in the same bag. In the same bag, I'll have my laptop for work. You can see everything in one bag, and everything covers my entire day. Everything in one flipping bag. So, guys, it's possible. This thing depends on what you value. Remember, I told you, which is some of these things, or this thing of time management, will also require some sacrifice. My sacrifice was my pride. Had to sacrifice my pride, which was Bonagala and Scombes and look stupid and all that. I didn't care. I only cared about making sure that what I want to do, I'm able to do. Back to me, from 3 to 4, traveling to workshop. I used to walk to workshop in Durban. Then from there, then I walk into a gym, undress, then dress up in my gym clothes. Then I'll start gymming from 4 from 4 till 5, and then past 5 I'm done. I'm taking a shower. Then around 4:45, don't ask me why is it 15 minutes. Do not ask me that question. Take a shower for team, and then you're out. So I'll have my shower, dress up, and then go straight to church. Church starts at 6:30. Then after church, then I'm coming back home. I can chill, watch TV, do whatever I need. I can talk to my lover. I can talk to my family. I can, have time to myself. My social time starts there till school is created that routine, repeated the same routine over and over again for years, not just 1 year, for years, guys. And it worked for me. But you can try it as well if you want to. But if you don't feel like it works for you, tweak it a bit, make it work for you. But my point is, sometimes you need to make sacrifices in order to make sure what you need you get. Because sometimes we focus on things that we want and forget on what we need. This is something you need. So you put it forward and you take what you do not need, put it aside. Right? So I did say, Guti, at this point, I will check if there's anyone who's still interested in coming through and also speaking to us, share their experience on time management, how they managed to move from 1 to 10 when they scale themselves. I did put up that whole status and meaning about scaling yourself or measuring yourself from 1 to 10. Guti, how good are you with your time management skills? So if anyone wants to come and share their story, share tips, guys, I can send you a link and then you can click on it and then you can come talk to us. Once I do that, I can play that video for those guys who missed the video. So if there's anyone who's interested, guys, just put a comment and say, send me the link. I'll send you the link. You just click on the link. The link will take you to my live broadcast. Then you come speak to us. You don't need to show your face, guys. I keep saying this. You can do literally this. I'm sure you guys can. Okay, this. I'm sure you guys can still hear me, but you can't see me anymore. So this broadcasting tool, it allows you to do that as well, like Zoom. So you can close off a video and speak. People can still hear you, but they don't have to see you. So I could have done that myself today and just do like a real podcast, like it's a radio thing. Yeah, as I said, you can't see me, but you can hear me. So if anyone wants to come through and speak to us in this same manner as I've done, you can do so. But if you don't, if there's no one who wants to do that, I'll play the video one last time. If there's questions, guys, you can come through with your questions and ask your questions. Because I saw that there's someone who wanted to see the video. I don't know if they wanted to see the video or the link, or they wanted the link. I'll share the link on this podcast when everything is done. So, but for now, what I can do is play the video one last time for those who missed the video. But again, if there's anyone who's got questions, you can ask your questions, guys. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Let me go straight to giving you the video. Okay, let's do this. Does this screen to Share. Okay, got it. So I'm gonna play the video for you guys one last time. Questions, comments, tips can come through. We are ready for you. We are ready for you. Questions, answers, tips, anything, guys. Going once, going twice, going 5 times, playing the video for the one last time, one last time, one last time. Okay, I don't know what's happening. There we go. Waiting for your comments, guys.
Hi, this is Don Howe, and the topic for this golden nugget is managing your time. And I'd like to illustrate this by sharing a well-known story. Once upon a time, a professor was teaching a class about time management, and the professor set a 1-gallon glass jar on the table and filled it up with pretty good-sized rocks. He then said to the students, "Is the jar full?" They replied, "Yes, it's full." And then he pulled out a bag of pebbles and he poured them into the jar. As he did, he shook the jar so that the pebbles sifted down through the holes between the rocks. Eventually, the pebbles reached the top of the jar, and once again, he looked at the class and said, "Is the jar full?" The students cautiously answered, "Yes." And then he pulled out a bag of sand and he did the same thing, pouring and shaking until the sand reached the top of the jar. This time, when he looked at the students and said, "Is the jar full?" they said, "No." He smiled. He pulled out a pitcher of water. He poured it into the jar until the water reached the top of the jar. And then he looked at the students and he said, "What was the point of this illustration?" And one young man jumped up and said, "I know. No matter how full your schedule is, if you try hard enough, you can always fit some more things into it." The professor shook his head and replied, "That's not the point I was trying to illustrate. The point I was trying to illustrate is that if you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never get them all in. If you fill your jar first with pebbles or sand or water, then there won't be any room for the rocks. If you allow the small things to take up all of your time, then you won't be able to accomplish the bigger things. Figure out what your highest priorities are and do your best to work first on those things that move you towards your goals. Once your goal-related activities are scheduled, then you can fill the rest of your schedule with all those other activities that are less important, but still need to be done. Of course, you know this already. But the illustration of the rocks in the jar is a good reminder to schedule your highest